Hello everybody, welcome to Voices of Friedrichs Ataxia. Our goal is to raise awareness and funds to cure Friedreich's ataxia, FA. Today we will talk about my journey to a Friedreich's ataxia diagnosis part 2. By Kendall Harvey. After the evidence piled up and I accepted that someone who has been extremely active all their life doesn't just suddenly become uncoordinated, I decided it was time for some answers. When I googled loss of balance, the internet convinced me I had an inner ear problem. When I saw the ENT, the doctor said there's definitely something going on here, but from what I can see, your ears look perfect. We can do an MRI just to double check. When that MRI came back fine, I stopped looking for answers and just moved on. I didn't play the next season of softball, but I kept playing sand volleyball. I continued to work out really hard to try to train my balance. I had a lot of trouble with my ankles growing up, miscellaneous injuries like bone chips and sprains. Like I said, I ignored the signs. But I started to think that maybe I just had weak ankles. I did a lot of stretching and work on balance boards to try and build them up. But that didn't work. I was still unbalanced. I clearly remember two incidents in late April of 2013. One evening, I enjoyed a margarita while out with a big group of family and friends. I wasn't drunk, but I'm a lightweight. One margarita is usually enough to affect me a little. When we were leaving, one of our party noticed I was walking weird. She was joking about how it's good we are leaving because I can't walk straight and I'm picking my feet up weird. Time to cut Kendall off. It was done in a light-hearted joking way. I laughed it off but secretly thought, oh no, my balance is getting worse. It's getting noticeable. I was terrified and mortified. That next week, I decided to take my dog for a run instead of going to the gym. We did a warm-up walk through the neighborhood to get to my favorite path around the high school stadium. I stretched and then, nothing. I literally couldn't remember how to make my body start running. I couldn't make my legs do that. I walked the dog home and immediately went to the computer to find a doctor. I found an internal medicine GP with amazing reviews and booked an appointment for the next week. At my appointment, I went through my first neurological exam. It was terrifying to see how symptomatic I was. She agreed that something was going on and said that it was probably neurological, but she wanted to rule some things out first. She drew blood to test for an array of deficiencies, intolerances, and abnormalities. The ones I remember are copper, gluten, vitamin D, and about 20 others. All of that came back normal, so she referred me to a neurologist. There, I did another, more thorough exam. My mom was with me. I remember the doctor asking if I had had any speech changes. I said not that I've noticed. My mom said, well, she talks slower than she used to, but we thought she was just maturing beyond typical high school valley girl talk. The doctor said, I definitely think something is going on here. I'm not sure what. It could be an allergy, a tumor, a movement disorder or something genetic. My mom and I both said, well, it can't be genetic because everyone in my family is fine. What genetic possibilities are there? I vaguely remember him mentioning a specific disease. I got home that night and googled Friedreich movement disorder. I was redirected to the Friedreich's ataxia Wikipedia page. It terrified me, but I thought, no way, that's me. I'm 25. This says people get symptomatic at 13 to 17 on average, and are in a wheelchair by their 20s. I went for my follow-up appointment to discuss and plan additional testing. My doctor assured me that we would figure this out together and that everything would be okay. He ran an even more thorough blood panel. I convinced myself it was an extreme form of celiac disease that, when unchecked for so long, can have neurological effects. I prayed it was as easy as going gluten-free. The panels all came back normal. Next up, MRI. This time, they did my head, neck, and back. I convinced myself it was multiple sclerosis, MS, or a tumor. But those came back normal, too. The next week, a lady came to my house to draw blood to test for genetic diseases. The office called in the morning on Monday, August 19, 2013 to schedule an appointment for that afternoon to discuss my genetic panel results. Kyle and my parents came to the appointment with me. Kendall Harvey is also an FA patient, and this information was taken from Team Kendall with their permission. The link is provided in description. Hello everybody, welcome to Voices of Friedrichs Ataxia. Our goal is to raise awareness and funds to cure Friedreich's ataxia, FA. Today we will talk about my journey to a Friedreich's ataxia diagnosis Part 3. By Kendall Harvey. Kendall, I was afraid that this might be the case. You have Friedreich's ataxia. My doctor looked as shell-shocked as us. He had studied FA in his medical school textbooks, seen one patient during his residency, but he had never treated a patient with FA. He printed off a 6-page document about FA, handed it to me and said, "I'm sorry, but this is about all I know about FA." He said that he didn't really know how to treat me going forward or answer the millions of questions I was bound to have. We were silent. No one knew what to say. I looked at the document without really seeing it. I felt like this had to be a nightmare, a cruel joke, or a scene out of someone else's life. Time froze, and so did I. Everyone just stared at me. Then Kyle came over, put his arm around my shoulders and said, "It's okay, baby, we can fight this." I snapped back, "No, we can't. This isn't cancer, there's no treatment or cure. It's just going to take away all of my abilities until it kills me. I can't fight that." I still feel horrible about snapping at him like that. When we were leaving that appointment, the receptionist looked at me with the saddest eyes. I felt like I had genetic defect terminal tattooed on my forehead. On the way home, I texted my closest friends and family. I simply said, "Leaving the neurologist. Just got diagnosed. I have Friedreich's ataxia." The only thoughts I remember having were, I'm going to be in a wheelchair, and then FA will kill me. I guess Kyle and I aren't going to have kids now, because I can't leave him a widower with a house full of kids. Why me? I remember replying to my friends' worried inquiries with a numb and insufficient response of, "I don't know what Friedreich's ataxia means, I don't know what is going to happen and when. I just know it's genetic and progressive. So, I will just get worse, end up in a wheelchair, and eventually die of heart failure." My village was trying so hard to be supportive, but they were also scared and sad. Just about every person asked, "Aren't you getting a second opinion?" To which I said, "FA isn't that kind of a thing. It's a very accurate and specific blood test, and you either have it or you don't. I was scheduled to start my new job later that week. I decided to go ahead and show up, figuring the distraction might be good. Doing something productive had to be better than laying around the house, squeezing my dog and crying. I called my doctor and he prescribed anti-anxiety medication for me, so I got back to life. Meanwhile, my parents were frantically researching. They were desperately seeking information about FA, treatments, local doctors who had any experience with FA, and so on. They were also updating my extended family. They asked for everyone to respect my privacy and give me time and space while we all digested this. I think they were trying to spare me from everyone looking at me the way the receptionist did. They found FARA, the Friedrichs Ataxia Research Alliance, and learned that their annual scientific symposium at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia was the following month. My dad went and said it was like drinking through a fire hose. He took detailed notes and brought home as much hope and information as possible. My favorite story of his from the symposium was meeting Ron Bartak, president and co-founder of FARA. He said Ron hugged him like a lifelong friend and said, "Welcome to the family. I'm sorry for the circumstances that brought you here, but I'm glad to know you." And so began our journey of accepting FA. We all quickly realized that life would never be the same. It would always be complicated by FA. But that certainly didn't mean that life was over. We are armed with knowledge, prayer, and a dedicated team of brilliant professionals working tirelessly against FA. Meanwhile, my job is to fight, every single day, for the life I always wanted, the life I deserve. The FA community is one of hope and passion. I have met the most amazing and inspiring people in this community. As my friend and fellow FA patient, Madeline Friedrichs said, "The biggest monster, FA, entered my life, and I had no way of defeating it, or even the capability of shrinking it. The only thing I could do is figure out how to grow bigger than it. Nothing can prepare you for a diagnosis like FA. But it isn't the end. Life goes on. It's hard, frustrating and sad fighting FA every day. But the fight is so worth it because life can be so beautiful, even with FA." Kendall Harvey is also an FA patient, and this information was taken from Team Kendall with their permission. The link is provided in description. Hello everybody, welcome to Voices of Friedrichs Ataxia. Our goal is to raise awareness and funds to cure Friedrichs Ataxia, FA. Today we will talk about New to Friedrichs Ataxia by Kendall Harvey. The first time I ever heard of Friedrichs Ataxia was the day I was diagnosed with the disease in 2013 at the age of 25. To say I was in shock is an understatement. I was scared, overwhelmed, confused, angry, eager, and desperate. So, I am going to try to address each of those emotions in the hopes of helping future patients and their friends and family. Scared? Of course you're scared. This life-shortening, degenerative genetic disease has just entered your world. It's scary. But you are still the same person you were yesterday, except now you have more knowledge. The scared feeling you have now will fade and eventually change. Right now everything about FA scares you, but soon, just the different phases and symptoms will scare you. Try to focus on tackling one symptom at a time, and it becomes more manageable and less scary. Overwhelmed. I felt so alone when I was diagnosed. There are no case managers for FA. My family and I had to do things ourselves. We had to find doctors who had heard of FA, bonus points if they had ever seen a real patient with it, and decide what to do next. We decided to gather as much information as possible so we would know which direction to turn. Hint: beware of your sources during this information gathering stage. Avoid random Google searches. Stick to reputable sources. Confused? So what is FA? FA is a life-shortening, debilitating, degenerative neuromuscular disorder. About 1 in 50,000 people in the US have Friedrichs ataxia. It has a wide spectrum of symptoms caused by low cellular levels of a naturally replenishing protein substance called frataxin, due to insufficient activity of frataxin genes in our flawed DNA. Let me break it down in layman's terms. Basically, FA patients have a lapse that prevents our central nervous system from functioning like everyone else's. Our limbs don't know where they are in space because we are missing critical cellular communication, so we get clumsy and uncoordinated. Unfortunately, Friedreich's ataxia can affect many aspects of our bodies. Every patient experiences FA differently, but the common symptoms are uncoordinated motor function, gait disturbances, scoliosis, diabetes, slurred speech, and in many cases, eventual heart failure. FA is a progressive and degenerative disease, meaning that as time progresses, FA symptoms worsen. Desperate. I know what you're thinking. A wheelchair? Heart failure? This wasn't what I was supposed to experience at this age. Let me offer some advice and a little hope. Every patient experiences FA differently. So before jumping to conclusions, seek advice from experts. Meet with Dr. David Lynch at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia or Dr. George Wilmot at Emory Healthcare in Atlanta, or Dr. Teresa Ziciuas at the University of Southern Florida. This list is not all-inclusive. There are many more wonderful doctors dedicated to the FA community. Connect with the fabulous people at the Friedreichs Ataxia Research Alliance, FARA. Seek a community through social media for people just like you, others who are also dealing with FA. Eager. Keeping busy and moving forward is so important. Get plugged in. Feeling like you are doing something productive is going to be the best treatment right now. Sign up for the patient registry through FARA. This is how you will stay up to date on clinical trials and research studies. And this is also where the smart folks coordinating the clinical trials and research studies pull their information from to try to find us a cure. They need all of the information they can get, so let's provide it. Hopeful. Please know that although this is currently no treatment or cure for FA, our community is full of hope and positivity. There are many fundraising and awareness efforts that you can support or participate in, such as Ride Ataxia, the Energy Ball, and other local grassroots efforts. There are also clinical trials and research studies taking place all over the world. Signing up for the patient registry will connect you to information regarding those. Keep going forward. Keep living your life. FA will feel all-consuming to those newly diagnosed, and may become an obsession. But try to be who you were before this diagnosis. Let it be a subplot in your story, not the climax. Please know that you are not alone. FA is scary and overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be. Pursue correct information from knowledgeable sources, do what you can to support FARA, and most importantly, keep moving forward. This isn't the end. There is so much hope out there. Kendall Harvey is also an FA patient, and this information was taken from Team Kendall with their permission. The link is provided in description. Hello everybody, welcome to Voices of Friedrichs Ataxia. Our goal is to raise awareness and funds to cure Friedrichs Ataxia, FA. Today we will talk about Seasons of Life with Friedrichs Ataxia by Kendall Harvey. Since my 2013 Friedrichs Ataxia diagnosis, the condition has consumed a part of every day. I was prepared for the physical changes that would come with FA, but the mental and emotional stress has surprised me. It is a factor in almost all of my decisions, both big and small. I have to think about my limitations and how destinations will affect me. Are there stairs? Is the ground bumpy and holy? Can I use a shopping cart or should I bring my walker? Should I just put it off until someone can go with me? I have always been a planner, but I was a spontaneous planner. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. Let me explain. I was spontaneous, but I was good at quickly thinking ahead to accommodate my spontaneity. I quickly executed plans to make things run smoothly. And everything generally worked out just fine. Then FA came into the picture. I lost my confidence along with my spontaneous gumption and my planning mojo. I found my anxiety and my introverted tendencies. I was scared of looking or feeling disabled, so I just didn't say yes to things. I was self-conscious that people were expecting happy, carefree Kendall and would be disappointed when I'm just having a rough day. Kendall showed up instead. So, I let FA rule my life for a while. I let it win. I was in a dark season. Then, I stopped my pity party and realized that I could still do so much, so I put FA in a little manageable corner and got on with life. Yes, it was always in the room, but it was just there. It wasn't dominating my life anymore. It wasn't winning. Then FA would demand acknowledgement. I would fall. I would just be having a bad week in which I was physically and emotionally drained. FA would consume my attention again. I would have to slow down and focus on my condition again. I realized that I couldn't segment FA out of my life. It is a factor in all aspects. It affects how I mother my children, how I do girls' night with my friends, how I travel, how I sleep, how long it takes to get dressed. So, I am getting back to my spontaneous planner roots. I am saying yes. I am living my life, but I am also making logical steps to accommodate FA. There are times when FA is a more consuming part of my life, like when I travel across the country once a month for a clinical trial or deal with a broken ankle from a particularly bad fall. But I surround myself with enough positive distractions and obligations that FA is just part of my life, not the entire thing. Kendall Harvey is also an FA patient, and this information was taken from Team Kendall with their permission. The link is provided in description. Hello everybody, welcome to Voices of Friedrichs Ataxia. Our goal is to raise awareness and funds to cure Friedrichs Ataxia, FA. Today we will talk about Fatigue and FA by Kendall Harvey. Friedrichs ataxia causes a wide array of symptoms. Every FA patient experiences the disease differently. For me, fatigue is a major symptom. Before I experienced FA, I thought I understood what fatigued meant, being really tired. Boy, was I wrong. Oxford Dictionary's definition of tired is, in need of sleep or rest, weary. When you're tired, a good night's sleep, a cup of coffee, and a reinvigorating activity, girls' lunch, exercise, spa trip, etc., can fix you right up. Fatigue is so much more. According to Farlex's Free Dictionary, fatigue is characterized by a profound lack of energy, feelings of muscle weakness, and slowed movements or central nervous system reactions. Fatigue can also trigger serious mental exhaustion. When I am fatigued, all of my symptoms worsen. I trip and fall more, I slur my words more, and I flat out don't have the energy to function at my normal capacity. Even on a good day, navigating life with FA takes so much mental and physical work. For every step I take, I have to think about where my foot will land. Usually when a person tired, a restful day or two can snap him or her out of the funk. But my fatigue can't be slept off, and it exhausts both body and spirit. My fatigue can drive me to dark places. In its midst, my disease's toll is emphasized. As a mom, I don't have the luxury of calling in sick. When my fatigue gets the best of me, I often find myself saying, I'm just so sick of being me. I want to be someone healthy and normal, someone who can slam a cup of coffee and fake it till I make it through my day. But I'm just not that person. My fatigue can't be slept or caffeinated away. It seeps into my very cells and drains me, but I must power through while my own genes fight against me every step of the way. My fatigue is a vicious cycle. I get exhausted, so I get sloppy, which makes things harder, which makes me even more exhausted. I don't quite know how to navigate this slippery slope yet. I need to find a way to stay on top of my fatigue and fight it before it starts by keeping up my exercise routine, eating healthily, and prioritizing sleep. If I can keep my fatigue in check, I can find the strength to manage other symptoms. Kendall Harvey is also an FA patient, and this information was taken from Team Kendall with their permission. The link is provided in description. Hello everybody, welcome to Voices of Friedrichs Ataxia. Our goal is to raise awareness and funds to cure Friedreich's ataxia, FA. Today we will talk about the emotional workout of physical therapy by Kendall Harvey. In Friedreich's ataxia, FA, care, we don't really have treatment options. There are clinical trials taking place to work on treatments and hopefully one day, a cure. But until then, we are left at the mercy of this progressive, degenerative disease. Wow! That is heavy. And disheartening. The way I see it, I could react in two ways: fight FA or just let FA win. I'm fighting. Seeing as there are virtually no available treatments for my symptoms of poor balance, decreasing dexterity, fatigue, and slurred speech, I had to get creative. Enter physical therapy. At physical therapy, we focus on different muscle groups and types of exercises every week. Sometimes I do strength training to equip my muscles to safely and efficiently do daily tasks. Other times, we focus on my core to help keep my center more grounded, strong, and stable. I also do walking, obstacle courses, and functional training to help reinforce and teach my muscles safe ways to navigate my life. We even practice different sports so I can find adaptive and safe ways to play with my kids. For me, physical therapy is frustrating and rewarding, all at the same time. I get frustrated that I have to hold onto a wall or use TRX bands to do squats with just my body weight, when 10 years ago, I was regularly doing 3 sets of 10 squats with a 185-pound bar. But I remind myself that every squat I'm doing now is making me that much stronger. I can push off needing a walking aid for a little bit longer if I just keep pushing myself. Physical therapy is a good way to strengthen muscles that I use every day that aren't worked by just completing everyday tasks. What I mean is, yes, my legs are benefiting when I walk around and when I get on and off the floor to play with my kids, but it's not the same as intensive exercise. Staying mobile and doing everyday tasks is so important, but so is intentionally exercising those muscle groups. Think of it as being proactive versus reactive. Physical therapy is also mentally taxing. In many ways, it feels great. I am proactively strengthening my body, fighting my disease progression, and holding on to my mobility. That motivates me and energizes me to make it through my sessions. Plus, endorphins. But physical therapy is also mentally trying. I resent the reason that I am there in the first place. It is disheartening to perform so poorly at tasks that I used to do for fun. It is exhausting trying to keep up and finding adaptive ways to do things normal people do every single day without a second thought. I would much rather be slamming tractor tires with a sledgehammer at CrossFit than trying to simply sit on a yoga ball for 30 seconds without falling over. I would rather be running with a jogging stroller around town lake than practicing standing on one foot without falling over. I would rather be laughing and dancing ridiculously with my girlfriends at Zumba than trying to make it through a set of overhead presses without dropping a weight on my head. I know that physical therapy is worth it in the end. It helps me safely continue going about my life. I have never finished a session and thought, well, that was a bad decision. I like pushing myself and trying to better myself. It might look different than what I thought working out at 30 years old would look, but at least it's something. I have to keep trying to stay mobile and strong while the scientists try to find a cure. That's my job. Kendall Harvey is also an FA patient, and this information was taken from Team Kendall with their permission. The link is provided in description.